I can see that we've got a couple of tables full of your fans right here, Shraddha. But for those of you who haven't followed her career as closely as her fans have, let me very quickly take you through her journey so far. You've been in the industry for a little over 10 years now?
I think so.
So you've spent a little over 10 years in the movie business. But you've grown up around the movie business. Your father is an actor. We just heard from your illustrious aunts, and of course your cousin is here within the hall as well watching you. So you've grown up around the movies. Did you ever consider wanting to do or be anything else, or this was it?
This was it, because this is what I grew up seeing in my household. I've grown up with the maternal side of my family predominantly, where I have my maushis, I have my grand aunt, I had my nana, who's was a very well-renowned classical musician. So I've grown up in a family of basically family members being in the creative arts. So for me, it's all that I knew.
And you know, you've spent the last 12 years now doing what you love doing. But what I want to understand from you, Shraddha, is, and you know, as a young person, as a young woman specifically, getting into the movie business, even though you're familiar with it, you're comfortable with your environment, did you always feel the need that you needed to conform to what an actress is supposed to look like, how an actress is supposed to be? You know, was that always, did that constrain you, at least in the first few years, where it was hard for you to maybe express who you really were? Did you bring your authentic self to the set, or were you trying to play a part even in real life?
That's a very interesting question, and I have to say that the way that you think starts in your household. And your perspective to life and the way that you look at life starts at a very young age. So I feel so proud to say that I come from a household where my brother and we were treated equally. For us, I was never told कि अरे, you know, आपकी मासी एक औरत है और देखो उन्होंने क्या कामयाबी पाई है लाइफ में, औरत बन के उन्होंने कामयाबी पाई है. So that was never a thought in my household. It was, okay, my father has achieved great things for himself. My Masi has achieved great things for herself. You should also strive to be like that. So having been brought up in that manner, I have to share that when my first films didn't do well, there were a lot of people who were telling me that, oh, you know, as an actress, if your first two films don't do well, then you know, you will never get any films, and there were a lot of people around me who said that, but I did not have that in my household. And I feel like that was such a strong foundation for me. And a lot of my thinking came from the conversations that I've had at home. Be it, to answer your question, I would say that it wouldn't strike me that an actress has to be a certain way or has to behave a certain way, because I'm very happy that my foundation made me think very normally, very differently, that it applies to both genders.
Yeah, and how much of that has impacted the choices that you've made when we talk about the roles that you've done and the movies that you've decided to take on? And I'll ask you this in the context of Stree, and I don't know how many of you remember, but I believe that there's a Stree 2 coming as well. But for you to play a ghost, and a ghost that preys on men, I mean, not too many women would have wanted to play that part. So how much of the choices that you make in terms of the parts that you accept in the movies that you take on is conscious and deliberate, and how much of it is just organic?
You know, I don't think I've spoken about this when we were promoting Stree, but there was a very, I'm actually very grateful to my director Amar Kaushik and my producer Dinesh Vijan. I'll tell you why. Because when Stree was offered to me, they offered it to me as a cameo. They offered it to me as a special appearance. And I just was so amazed and so entertained with the premise of the film being about having a larger social message in an entertaining manner, that I requested them that, you know, can I be a part of the cast, and actually, can this not be a special appearance? I don't want to feel that this is a special appearance. And they completely agreed to that.
Well, it changed the whole movie then.
And I feel like for me to be a part of that, to be the front runner, to be right there, proudly being on the poster of that film and being right in the front, I felt that I'm proud of this film because for filmmakers to touch upon, as I said, social causes, social conversations in an entertaining manner, I don't know how many of them do it very successfully.
You know, you said something interesting here. You said that you had a conversation with the director and the producer and said that it shouldn't be a cameo, that it should be a much larger role. And that resulted in a completely different movie. But how much say do you have as an actor, or for the lack of a better term in this context, as an actress, to dictate what the story should be or how the part should be played out, what layers the character should have? How much say and space do you find that you get?
Actually, when you start meeting people for a film, or you start hearing a film, you start interacting with producers, you start interacting with the makers, very early on in the meetings, and I've started figuring this out, I can gauge how they are seeing a character. I can gauge, okay, they're seeing this character to be a significant character in the film. I can see that they're going to treat the character equally to the male character or other characters in the film. You can gauge that, or rather I've started to be able to gauge that now.
Have you ever walked away if you felt that it wasn't going to be a fair balance between what they were telling you and what the part would eventually look like?
Absolutely. I absolutely have. And I feel like that it's my responsibility to do that, because I feel that the audience that I have built for myself now, they would not want to see me in parts where there isn't a strong layer to that part.
So, you know, you talked about wanting to play parts that have layers. What is the part that you would like to play? What do you aspire to play? Is there a movie, is there a role, you know, domestic or global, that you aspire to do?
You know, I feel that we're at a great time for women in cinema right now, with films like Gangubai, with Razi, with Neerja. There's Manikarnika. Some of them are blockbusters, some of them not. There would be Hasina, which is my film. There would be Thalaivi. There are so many films. So I feel that people are making these films. And people are on the lookout of strong female characters, strong stories that can be told. So frankly, I feel that because we are at a good space right now, I would be open to any interesting story.
But you know, that's the good and the bad side of this. So the good is that you're getting all of this adulation and love immediately from your fans, and they're responding to you pretty much in real time. But you can also have a situation where you have people not say very nice things to you, because anonymity provides that safety to say whatever you want to say without any consequences. How do you deal with that?
I apply the same kind of thinking that I've been brought up with, which is perspective, which is what you pay attention to grows. If I focus on the love and adulation, and if I focus on also trying to hope that when I share candid aspects of my life, maybe someone is going to get inspired in some way also. So I focus on that very, very frankly. And I feel that is something that I use also as my strength.
Shraddha Kapoor, thank you for being such a wonderful sport, and thank you so much for sharing your life story, your life's journey, but more importantly, your dreams and aspirations with us here on this platform. Ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for
Thank
Shraddha
you, everyone.
Kapoor. These ladies here are not running foundations that have unicorn-like valuations, but they certainly have unicorn-like values, and that is what we're attempting to uncover and discover through their stories.